You're listening to the All Burgundy and Gold Everything Commanders pregame show powered by the Urban Sports Scene and Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia. The Washington Commanders are home taking on the Buffalo Bills. I'm Wole rocking my Magic Johnson gear with my co-host Glenn. What's going on, Glenn?
Not much, man. Just excited for another week of Commanders football, man.
Me too, man.
Whichever
Me
we get,
too.
just another week of football, and let's get it.
Let's get it, bro. Real quick, make sure you subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Just search All Burgundy and Gold Everything. Also tweet us at ABG_everything. And hit us up on IG at ABG_everything. And like our All Burgundy and Gold Everything Facebook page. Make sure you subscribe to our All Burgundy and Gold Everything YouTube channel as well. Here is the rundown for today's show. We'll get some updates live from FedEx. Then we'll debate on who we think the rain will impact the most. We'll also talk about keys for a Commanders victory and also some key matchups. Then finally, we'll provide our predictions. But right now, live from FedEx Field, we got Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM's Commanders reporter Felix Trammell on the show. What's up, Felix?
How y'all doing today? How y'all doing?
Doing well, brother. Doing well.
Doing good, bro. You know, it's a different time, man. This team is 2-0, has an opportunity to go 3-0. Before we get into what we think is going to happen in this game, anything glaring within the inactives and actives list?
Not really. We can see that Curtis Hodges is nowhere near ready to play because the team had signed Alex Armah yesterday off the practice squad and made him active. So that put Curtis Hodges down. Because, I mean, today with the weather against the team you're playing, you're going to need that blocking. And Armah is a solid blocker. He's going to line up all over the field to do that. Plus, you have Cole Turner, who is really your receiving tight end. So that would probably be the only thing. Me personally, I'd rather KJ be active, and we have either like Tuhill or Smith Williams be inactive. Because I think the young guy needs his opportunities. But that's neither here nor there. But that'd probably be the big thing that I saw. It was the Alex Armah signing and Curtis Hodges still not being active.
Do you expect Armah to play a lot, though? Do you expect him to play a lot?
I do. I expect a lot of 2-3 tight end sets today. Force the Bills' hand in their personnel. There's still going to be a lot of passing out of that, a lot of screens out of that, and you need a solid blocker who can line up on the end of the line. He can line up at H-back. They call him like a U-back, so he can line up anywhere. So I do expect Armah to get a fairly decent amount of snaps, especially in run-heavy situations.
So in terms on the on-field weather, how is that looking? And the shape of the field.
The field looks great. They put a lot of work in their field. Some of that $40 million has gone into the field. The field looks good. Now it was raining pretty good between about 9:30 and like 10:45. But when they pulled the tarp off, it kind of is lightened up some, and it's only really been like a mist. So the field should be in pretty good shape. It's going to get a little slippery, but in comparison, if we would have played this game yesterday, it would have been an absolute mess. But I think the field's going to hold up very well, and right now, the rain is lighting up tremendously, so it shouldn't be that much of a factor in the game.
Cool. Hey, earlier, Cam Curl and Curtis Samuel were on the injury report. Have you seen them warm up? If so, how they look out there?
Cam looks fine. I played eyes on him warming up when he was going through his routine. He looked fine. Curtis looked a little slower, but I don't know if he was really pushing hard yet because they had just taken the tarp off, and when you take the tarp off, it's a tad slippery. Let the air get to it. So I didn't see him push off. I'm going to be really interested to see him push off when we get to full team warm-ups just to see how he cuts and everything. But Cam Curl looked pretty much 100%. And it was for him, it's going to be more wind because they didn't practice a lot this week because of the illness. So it's going to see how his stamina and wind hold up.
Did you see Deron Payne out there warming up? He had the ankle injury. How was Deron?
Yeah, Deron Payne was going through warm-ups with the lineman. He looked pretty good. You can see it's taped up a bit, but he looked pretty good. He didn't look like he had any issues or thoughts or concerns about it. So he looks fine.
All right. Cool, man.
Do you think the rain is – go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Glenn.
Now, finish the statement. The Commanders win if what?
They win the turnover battle. You win the turnover battle. Bills have had a propensity, especially this season, to give the ball up. in some pretty careless ways, starting with Josh Allen just throwing balls up for grabs. So if the Commanders win the turnover battle and they win the time of possession battle, they will win the game.
I want to go back to something you mentioned about obviously about Deron Payne, but I'll go a step further with Curtis Samuel. If he's just been dealing with a groin issue, am I correct? Prior to that, right? It's a groin issue he's
Well,
dealing with.
he had a slight groin issue.
Yeah,
If you've noticed, his plays have been a little less limited than what I expected in the offense.
Yeah,
what I'd seen during training camp. There was a lot of stuff designed for Curtis that we haven't seen.
Yeah.
And I think the illness it kind of was a good thing in a way because it made him not practice for a little bit. So his groin should be a little bit stronger. But now does his wind hold up? So I think that's the caveat. That's the give and take there. But they have been protecting it because he hasn't been getting all those plays that I know that are designed for him in the offense.
So how's the rain? Would that hinder him trying to push off because he's probably more cautious with the groin?
Yeah, I mean
the field conditions.
You are to an extent, but then you got to realize the offensive player has the advantage in the wet weather because they know where they're going. The defender doesn't. Yeah. So the Bills are a very fast defense, they very straight line defense. So if you can make that first person miss, there's usually opportunities there. So I'm going to really be looking for him during full warm-ups just to see how he cuts, to see if he really trusts it or not, because I think that's going to be the key.
Well, hopefully they have a good turnout. Hopefully, but first of all, in terms of in terms of the electricity, bro. How's the electricity of this game, bro? Like, how's the fans and everything?
Yeah, the fans are great.
I'm about to let you go too. Don't worry about it. I'm about to let you go too. I can see so much. I get you.
Anthony Anderson, I'm sorry, Anthony Armstrong just walked through the press box, and that's my boy. He was trying to talk to me, but it's good electricity. Now I'll say this: the Bills Mafia came down here. They're out here. They're deep now, so that's going to provide an electricity to the game. Now the Washington fans they're excited. They're here. They're loaded. But Bills Mafia is going to add another level to that because they have a strong following, a strong presence. But you can tell it's just a different aura. Like it's just a different energy. Like people used to come up here Sundays, kind of like. And I hope my mama don't hear this. When your mama used to make you go to Sunday school, and I don't want to go to Sunday school. It's the same thing. You're kind of forced to be here. Now people want to be here, and I think that's the underlying difference. The fans want to be here. The weather is not a hindrance. The parking lot was full. Like traffic was backed up, and it's not just because we're playing the Cowboys or somebody. It's because people are excited for this team. Now Bills Mafia got a decent crowd here. But there's still a ton of Washington fans that are excited and energetic about this team. So that I tweeted it out. It just seems electric. Like it seems like there's something here. So I think that's been captured in the first 2 weeks, and going 2-0 is only gone to take that another step further.
This is the last question for you. If you had to put a ratio or a percentage on how many fans which team has, what's the percentage? Does Washington still have more fans out there compared to the Bills Mafia?
Yes, they do. Now this would be a good 70-30 probably. I mean, they're going to be present. You're going to see those blue jerseys here, of course. But it's not going to be those washout games. And I always go back to, you remember when we stand on the sideline back in 2019 with that Patriots game, when we saw Brady jerseys like we were in Foxborough.
Everywhere.
That was the most embarrassing thing I'd ever seen. It was that 2019 game, and we stood there on the sideline and we talked about it. But it's going to be about 70-30. They'll have a noticeable crowd, but Washington is still the dominant feature. You're still going to see a lot of burgundy. You're still going to see a lot of excited Commanders fans.
Well, that's what's up, man. Hopefully they show out, man. I really want to have I want this team to have a good showing when it comes to the fan support, because I do think that can propel them over the top in this game. But Felix, man, thanks for being on, man. We appreciate you, homie.
And no problem, y'all. Best of luck. See y'all.
See you later, man, bro. Take it easy, bro.
Man.
Again, that was Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia's Commanders reporter, Felix Trammell. Hey, check him out, man, on IG, Twitter, all that good jazz. I think it's Blessed Commander on IG, so make sure you check him out. All right, so let's get into it, Glenn. in terms of, I'll let you ask the first question because I'm like trying to retweet this stuff out.
With the rain, man, with the rain weather, with the rainy weather, who has the advantage? The Bills or the Commanders?
It's hard. Obviously, that you would like to think the underdog has it, and the Washington Commanders are the underdog in this matchup. So you want to say like the Commanders and whatnot, but Buffalo they play in a lot of bad weather, snow and whatever. So I guess they're used to it, right? They're used to having not the greatest conditions, and Washington does too. But you still have a young team with Sam Howell. He hasn't really been in this type of situation. But I guess on the flip side, Washington had a bad weather game at home the first game of the season. So a rainy game, the first game of the season against Arizona. So I guess I can go with Washington. I mean, I'll be a homer. I'll go with Washington as the advantage. Because they dealt with this already this season. We're looking at this season; they know what to expect. I don't think they played a great game offensively when the rain hit against the Arizona Cardinals. I think when the rain hit, the offense did get kind of stagnant. But also, and the flip side, you experienced it, and once you experienced it already this season, maybe that can kind of give you the level up in that situation. And also, both quarterbacks have strong arms, so I don't feel like it'll be an issue trying to throw in the rain. But I do think that Sam Howell having a baseball arm, having a baseball background, knowing how to get there's a different level. When you're a pitcher, there's a different level of arm strength. Not to say he has a Josh Allen arm strength, but in terms of like that line drive type of throw, right? Drilling it into like weather, like windy conditions or whatever. Baseball players do it often. So baseball pitchers do it often. So I think that's going to surprise a lot of people when it comes to Sam Howell.
Yeah, I think to answer the question, I think Washington has the advantage here, man, because they run the ball effectively. I think the line will be well,
that's good.
And I think Bieniemy's still going to do what he does with the screen game and the weather. Like I said, I haven't seen the field conditions as of yet, but like I said, offense know where they're going. Defense has to get there. And I think Phyllis mentioned it as well. Yeah. So, you got offensive players getting there, getting in their position, getting their zone, catching the ball and running. Security turnover is going to be key. You mentioned turnovers earlier. Washington Commanders have scored 18 points off of turnovers this year. And so they scored in every game off of turnovers. And so you look at that this year and you look at that. I think Washington, and if the ball can be put on the ground and Washington can get it, I think the rain will help Washington. And he said, Josh Allen has been loose with the football this year. So yeah. I think Washington has the advantage because of the weather and because of some turnover situations that may occur.
Yeah, that's the thing. Hey, folks, I'm supposed to put a poll out there. I forgot to put a poll out there on this one too. But folks, if you're listening in, and I probably can still do it though. What are for you if you're listening? What do you think? Who you think has the advantage in the situation, the Commanders or the Bills, when it comes to the rain? But which in terms of the matchups, Glenn, which matchup intrigues you the most and why?
It's always the trenches. It's always the trenches for me, right?
Always the trenches with you, bro. I'm about to say non-trenches. When I ask you a question, I'm about to say non-trenches. Go ahead, bro.
The trenches are because I think everything starts and stops with the offensive line, right? The defense, offensive line. This team cannot block if this team gives up sacks like they did last week early on. Which would drive killers. If you watched the game last week, these sacks would drive killers. There was in the red zone, that opportunity to score. Have to end up selling for field goals instead of touchdowns, and we didn't even make the field goals. So you want to be able to be in. The offensive line has to be able there. That matchup is key. Washington's offensive line versus the Bills' defensive line is a good key matchup. But other matchup for me that I'm looking forward to and see if we get it is Emmanuel Forbes. If he can line up against Stephon Diggs and see if they put the young guy on Stephon Diggs and how does he handle that pressure? Because if you really look at it, Stephon Diggs will be the best receiver he's seen up to this point.
I don't want him to see Stephon one-on-one. I'll say that much. He can see Stephon, but I don't want him to see him. I don't think he's ready for that smoke one-on-one. And that's just because Stephon is an artist when it comes to route running. So I don't think I want to see him. Now, I mean, you keep testing him, he's gonna get you, but Stephon gonna get him. I mean, Josh Forbes. Emmanuel Forbes will get you if you keep testing him. But also on the flip side, Diggs will win more times than losing. Put it that way. He's going to win more times than losing in that situation. So you got to give him help. My big My big matchup, what I'm intrigued by, is Josh Allen versus that Washington Commanders front four. It's easy to say they're against their offensive line, but against their front four, because this is a game where they have to dominate and they have to make Josh Allen scared in the pocket. They have to provide fear. They got to make him think about holding on to the football or in that secondary, right? Honestly, I'd say Josh Allen versus the Washington Commanders defense, to be honest with you. Like, they all have to work together. Like, that secondary has to make Josh Allen think that, okay, he can't make this throw. And also on the flip side, that front four has to create so much pressure on Josh Allen. He has to second guess everything. So for me, it's the defense versus Josh Allen. That's just what it is. It's like, that's because you're dealing with one of the best quarterbacks in the game, top 5 quarterback in the game. Granted, I said that he's digressed a little bit, but at the end of the day, with the arm strength, the arm talent, he got well against the Raiders. You know what I mean? He got well against the Raiders. So you do want to put yourself in a situation where you're not in a shootout, because, like Felix said, the rain has kind of subsided a little bit. So now, like, it's in conditions for him to throw the football, So that's my matchup. In terms of, like, another matchup that I'm heavily interested in is, like, Forbes. I am into that Forbes and Diggs match. I am into that matchup. But I don't want him I don't want him isolated against Diggs. I just don't. I don't want him isolated against Diggs. But my thing is to double Diggs and to make sure, like, the other, like Gabriel Davis, let him beat you. Like, that's my thing. Let him beat you. But don't let Stephon beat you. Like, and another matchup, I got one. Tight ends versus linebackers, man. They got two solid tight ends. They got Knox and Kincaid. Two solid tight ends. And then I want to see what Jamin and Cody Barton. It's like, this is a game for Cody Barton has to step up. Like, Cody got to step up. He didn't grade too well last week. I know I had somebody on Twitter defending him. It was adamantly defending Cody Barton. I was like, Cody Barton ain't play good, bro. Like, he said 100, he had 10 tackles. Look, man, when you play 100, I'm gonna say this again. When you play 100% of the snaps, you best believe you better have as a middle linebacker. You better have 10 tackles.
But not even that, especially with that D line, right? That D line is picking up double teams. That lead D line is getting double teamed and blocked. And so you as a linebacker will be free in this defense. That's the point of the defense, right? Is to keep the linebacker free. They got to double Daron Payne. We saw what happened when they didn't double Daron Payne. We saw what happened when they didn't double Jonathan Allen. And so therefore, Cody Barton's supposed to be a true 10 to me is low for him, right? He should have had more.
That's what I'm saying.
He should have had more tackles than that, right? But you had Cam Curl who led in tackles last week, which means this. That means Cody didn't do his job. If your safety leads in tackles, that means the linebackers they was getting past the linebackers and getting to the safeties. Anytime your safeties and corners lead your defense and tackle, that means the D-line and the linebackers didn't do that. Defensive line and linebackers didn't do their job. Somebody didn't do their job, and most likely it's the linebackers, because their defensive tackles shouldn't have that many tackles unless they get tackles for loss in the backfield. So it goes on Jamin Davis and Cody Barton. So
I ain't going to put on because Jamin only get that much percentage of plays, so I ain't going to put on Jamin. Jamin had a wild play. He had a couple of wild plays, and even Ron Rivera and had shot out Jamin. So that lets you know that Jamin didn't play bad. I just noticed when you're playing Buffalo nickel and the only linebacker on the field is Cody Barton, I'm just saying, like, he's the one. I don't think Jamin for his sets, he looked good. If you look at the tape, like, for his sets, he looked good. That's why when people talk about the linebacker play, I'm like, no, Jamin ain't playing 100% of the snaps, bro. That's Cam, like you mentioned, that's Cam Curl and Cody. And Cam Curl is getting to your point, Glenn, Cam Curl is getting to the ball carrier better than your middle linebacker. That says a lot. I'm serious. Like, that says a lot. So if you look at the snap percentage, and Jamin had a sack, strip, fumble, like, the only thing that Cody Barton he had like one tackle for a loss, but that's the only thing he did of substance. Like, I'm not getting into 10 tackles. Was he better in the second half? Yeah, he was better in the second half. I think that's no argument, but he was better in that Broncos game in the second half. So, but we'll see, man. I need to improve. That's the thing. I need to see him against those tight ends, and also him against that running game, Cody Barton. That's a matchup for me. Like, I need to see improvement. Glenn, what are your keys to a Commanders victory, my man?
Other than running the football, other than running the
football, like you said, that's an intrigue. Other than running the football,
I want to see Cole Turner. I want to see the tight ends get involved this week. Logan
Logan's out.
Logan's out, right?
Yeah.
Logan Thomas is out. So I want to see what other tight end steps up, right? What other tight end can be that presence for Sam Howell, and Sam can get the ball to. I want to see Antonio Gibson progress his game from last week, right? Because he's in the passing game as well in the screen game. I want to see what Brian Robinson does this week. Or a lot of people, he was on Rich Eisen this week, and everybody's giving Brian Robinson some praise. Let's see if running. Let's see if we can put 2 games together, right? So let's see if 2 games can go back to back with his running team. And again, of course, I'd like to see a 100-yard rusher, especially in this type of weather. And let's see what kind of running game can we get, and see if Eric Bieniemy can be real creative. The last thing is that I'm expecting for is see how many points this team can score.
Yeah, go ahead. How many? Go ahead. I'm sorry. What were you about to say?
I just want to see this team score points. I mean, I don't want to see you put up 30. We put up 35 last week. No, 40. It was 35 last week, right? You put up 35 last week.
35.
Yeah, you put up 35 last week, and you put up 20-something the week before. Can you progress in that? Can you do a consistent 25, or you can do a 28? And I think 28, anywhere between 28 to 30, wins this football game.
Man, I'm about to be like you, and I think I'm about to be redundant as I don't know what. Like dominate on defense, bro. Like this is the weather. Like I know that the offense has they know where the ball is going. That's the advantage. But you see what the Jets did to Josh Allen. Like you're not going to control. Like you're not going to just take away Josh Allen completely, because the Jets have familiarity with Josh Allen, so they're able to play a particular style they're used to in its division game. So the energy is a lot different, right, for a division game. But I do want to see. But you do have a lot of things. You have a lot of similarities with the Jets in terms of what they do with that defensive front, right? In terms of their front is supposed to be like electric. In Washington, to me, in terms of talent, no one has any no one matches up with the talent in the defensive front like Washington. So it's an opportunity to put a lot of pressure on Josh Allen. Like I need to see Del Rio to mix coverages up, mix blitzes up, like add some blitzes. Like you don't have to blitz a lot, because you have and this is the type of game I do think you do have to rely on your front for a lot in this game, but mix it up. Make Josh Allen uncomfortable. I feel like that's the biggest key. If you make Josh Allen uncomfortable, run the football in this weather would be great. But if you could contain that offense, right, and you can make Josh Allen struggle, turn the ball over, fumble, you know what I mean? Like, so this is big ups to like Deron Payne, Allen, Sweat, and Chase Young. Like, this is the game where you have to arrive. Like, yes, it's easy. You did it against the Broncos, and everybody was like, but folks are like, they're discrediting that, right? Because it's the Broncos. Like, they're struggling. They don't know what they're doing, right? A lot of people had them losing the Broncos. But this is a game like this is Buffalo. This is a Super Bowl contender. This is a team that people have picked to say, you know what? This could be the year that Buffalo can get to the Super Bowl. Now, if you can be able to dominate Josh Allen and have him struggle, turn the football over, so guys like Emmanuel Forbes can look good, guys like Kendall Fuller, Benjamin St-Juste, Cam Curl, Defoe, like you had those dudes step up. Yeah, I think this is an opportunity this is the game where you have to stamp it. You put your stamp on it and say, this is what they brought us here. This is why they drafted all of us. Right. This is the game. This is the short term at the moment. Yeah, hopefully there's bigger games, right? But this is the type of game that you drafted us for, to take away the elite of the elites.
Yeah, this is the game changer. This is the game changer.
I think they win. Yeah.
This is a game changer, defining moment. That's not to cut you off. This is a game changer, defining moment. As you mentioned, you talked about the Buffalo Bills. I mean, talked about the Broncos last week. Everybody said, they looking at it. They say more people said that the Broncos failed than Washington took over the game.
There you go.
And so they have to get to a fast start, and they have to take over the football game. And that's the key to me. They have to take over the game. They can't have a slow start. First 2 games of the year, it had been a slow start for this team, right?
Yep.
Total slow start. It has to be a big start. And I think we talked about it. Has to be a big start for Charles Leno. Has to be a good start for Andrew Wiley. Andrew Wiley. They have to have a big start to me. Offensive line have to have a good start. If Washington gets the ball first, they have to go down the field and score.
Field goal or touchdown. They got to go back. They got to get the ball. You're talking about scoring off the rip. Field goal or touchdown?
Touchdown. You got to get touchdown.
Touchdown on the rip.
Touchdown off the rip.
I just think they need to like. I think they just need to score. I just feel like they didn't let Buffalo know they're here. They're here. You know what I mean? Like they're here. You know what I'm saying? Because they scored the first drive. Because the Buffalo defense isn't like it's a good defense, right? Their linebacker play is great. Like they have one. I can't say his name. The dude is one of the better premier linebackers in the game because he can cover. He makes big plays. He gets interceptions. So they have one of the better defenses in the game. I just think that like it's time, man. Like it's just time, you know. And if Cody Barton don't play well, Jack Del Rio, don't be scared to play Hudson. Don't be scared to play Hudson. Like I'm just saying, don't be scared. Like just don't be scared because at this moment in this type of situation, this type of game, you're going to go against some good tight ends, and then you're going to go with Diggs. And you saw what the Broncos did with Judy and some other wide receivers where they're running crossing routes where Barton had to cover, and he was not good at it. You know what I mean? And Barton was a safety in college. It's not like he hasn't covered before. Like but this is supposed to be this is the reason why they brought him in because he has coverage skills as a linebacker. Mm-hmm. So I think that's definitely a key. I think that's something they need to. Also, I mean, like Sam Howell. Like he's gotten like it's a short sample size, but I'm a big fan of progression. Right? This is my thing, progression. We asked this question last week in the pregame about could he have a better game, a better performance than he did against Arizona, and he did. Right? So it's progression. Mm-hmm. He got better. He's getting better week by week. This is a game now in Buffalo. Weather is the weather is tricky. It's not as windy as it was yesterday. Yesterday was windy, so I'm kind of glad that all right. If it's just rain and the rain has kind of stopped a little bit, you'll get a better. The offense should be able to move the football, and the weather shouldn't hinder it as much mm-hmm. as we all thought it may have during the week. So I want to see if Sam Howell has taken his game to another level. Has Eric Bieniemy put more on his plate to say, okay, we can do this now. We can do this now. You know what I mean? Now it's your time to do this. And I'm also going to be looking out to see if Eric Bieniemy will be so run heavy like he was in the first half against the Broncos. Because he was, pass heavy because he was so pass heavy. In the second half, he was run heavy.
Yeah,
what do you think his game plan should be?
Today should be run heavy. Today should be run heavy. Uh-huh. See, and then you can open up because I always believe that your running game, open up your passing game, open up your play action, open up your bootlegs, open up the things of that nature, right? Open up the screen game because now they're pressing, and so you get the screen. So I think you should be run heavy first, open that up, and then when you open that up, it will open everything else up. And I think Terry and Jahan, we talked about that on our podcast this week about how we think Jahan is going to eat more this week, right? Because they've been talking about him, he's not getting the ball. So we'll see. I think Jahan will have a good day. So all you fantasy people that have Jahan on your fantasy team, all right, go ahead and start him because I think Jahan Dotson will have a good day today. Not saying that Terry's going to have a bad day, but I think this offense will excel today. And they're at home, right? And I think Felix said it. Felix said it again. It is energy there. And it's not just Buffalo Bill fans. It's Commander fans in the building. So you'll see the energy. You got legends back in the building again, right? You have people that had not been around this organization in a while. So I think they will come out. I don't think they will come out flat. I think they will come out energetic. I think they will come out with energy. And they think they will come out with excitement. Just want to be able to see this team do well in front of the home fans, man. You want to see them do well in front of the home fans. You keep winning football games in front of your home fans and fans keep coming out, that shrinkage of other people coming into your place taking over, it would begin to shrink. It would shrink down, right? The Bills Mafia, even though they travel well, is gonna start shrinking because Washington fans are gonna buy the tickets, And so you're gonna see that. But we know that Chase Young is playing today. He's not. Last week they said he was gonna be on a quote unquote pitch count, right? Which we know he wasn't really on a pitch count. He played 47 out of 66 snaps, right? I mean, out of the 66
his play dictated that.
Yeah, right. At the 66 snaps on defense that the defense took last week, Chase Young played 47 of those, right? He played 47 of those snaps. So again, I'd like to see where he goes at this week. I'm a Chase Young fan. I like
You're
Chase
a coach,
Young.
man. You're a coach. You want to be better. You want him to be better. Like you want him to reach his potential. You want to reach his potential. That's it. I get it.
And we need him. They need him to be more to have progressed than last week. To progress last week. He was around. He was around a lot of plays last week. He caused a lot of things that didn't make the stat line. And I think he will do that again this week with him and Montez Sweat. This is a game that's really kind of built for the defensive line to have a great day.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I go back to what I was saying earlier. Like, you saw what the Jets did. It's not like the Bills have the best offensive line. They don't. They don't have the best offensive line in the world. And you have a quarterback who wants to make the great play, right? He does. Like, Josh Allen isn't a dude typically that's getting the ball out quickly normally, right? That's not his thing. He's looking for like the big plays. He's looking for a Stephon Diggs to get open. Like, he throws the ball to Stephon Diggs pretty much all the time, anytime he can, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, double teaming him is a key. Like, take away his biggest weapon and make others beat you. But also, when you do that, and if he wants to go, if he's and knowing that, I mean, we didn't talk about it, knowing that this is a home game with Stephon Diggs, like, you know that they're going to be pressing to give him the ball. Like, they're going to be pressing to give Stephon the ball, like, to make plays. That's just normal, right? You see that everywhere in any type of sport. Like, when your star player, one of your star players are going home, they're going to try to force feed that star player. Like, you're going to see Stephon Diggs in like wide receiver screens, bubble plays, going deep. You're going to see all that with Stephon Diggs. But the thing is, Washington has to make it difficult to get the ball to Stephon Diggs. And so if they can do that, and the defense can do, if they can do that, the secondary can do that, can like have Josh Allen just overthink a coverage or a situation, then you're giving time for that defensive front to get home to create turnover. So I agree with you, Glenn. I do think, if they are in a perfect situation, not perfect, but in a great situation where that defensive front could be menacing. They really can. And to a point where, Tez and Young and Allen and Payne can have a good sack performance. Right now, they have 10 sacks in the season. Am I correct? Like 10 sacks this season. That number can go up a lot because you have a quarterback who wants to make plays, man, who just does that's just what he is. He's a play-making quarterback. And when that allows you to be able to put your hands on him, you know what I'm saying? So that too, and also another key line when we're going back, a lot of keys, and that was a lot of keys. We're just naming them all right now. I know. I think Jamin Davis spies Josh Allen. I think that has to be out there. Like, you got to get. We saw the play he made against Russ, a mobile quarterback, how that closing speed looked. Like, you got to have him spy Josh Allen on certain downs. Like, you got to mix it up, obviously, because you don't want you want to keep some of those individuals in coverage, but you got to mix it up. You got to spy a Josh Allen.
I think you do too. I think you definitely have to do that. You got to spy Josh Allen, have somebody on him, and Jamin Davis is fast enough to do so. We know that Josh Allen is a big quarterback. He doesn't mind running, right? He doesn't mind.
A big boy.
He doesn't. A big boy. Remind me of Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger when he was younger, right? When he was younger. Ben Roethlisberger was younger, and when Ben Roethlisberger was, he was a big quarterback. Didn't mind running, putting his head down, and getting those extra few yards for his team or winning it with his feet. So we'll find Josh Allen doing that. The Washington Commanders have an opportunity to do something today. They have opportunity to, in the last 6 meetings, they're 3-3, right? With the Buffalo Bills at home. Well, they're 3-3 with the Buffalo Bills at home all the time. They got opportunity to break that. And, Washington has not beaten the Buffalo Bills since 2015, right?
Yeah.
And so it's an opportunity for the Commanders to do that. I know that just, it's history, different teams, different makeups, but you want to see this team continue to build success on different things they have not done, right? Last week was a big week for record-breaking events for the Commanders team, right? Ron Rivera got his 100 win. You had Chase Young, who picked up his 10th sack of his career. You had a lot of things that transpired. And so we're looking for that this week, and I think the Washington Commanders will be able to do that. The Bills, from the 2 games that I've watched of the Buffalo Bills, they're not the same Bills team from last year, right? They're not the same Bills team that was rolling people, and so they've taken a step back. And when Washington team coming in a little bit hot, and this team's coming in with the confidence building each and every week, I think this team has an opportunity to do some good things in this game.
I mean, I agree. I think they do. I think I'll say this much: this Buffalo team has been what they've been. They've been the same Buffalo team the last half of the last portion of the season last year, which it hasn't been the same. It's not the same Buffalo. To your point, Glenn, it's not the same Buffalo team that would start the season. You know what I mean? Like, that team that started the season last season was looking like they were going to the bowl. You know what I mean? Like, that team looks scary. Where they're at now is pretty much where Josh Allen was finishing up last year. You know what I mean? So I agree. I think they're I don't think they're as scary as they used to be, and the defense hasn't been as scary since Von Miller went down. And I'm not sure if Micah Hyde's playing. I'm not sure he is. If he isn't, I gotta check that out. But I think if Micah Hyde's playing, that gives Washington another advantage. If he's playing, he's tough. Micah Hyde does make that secondary scary because they are opportunistic in terms of turnovers and getting up interceptions and whatnot. But yeah, I just think that this team is a little different. And I'm with you. I think they're gonna be way more competitive with certain people than some people think. Win or lose, I think they're gonna be way more competitive because a lot of folks think like this team is going to get blown out, and I'm like, nah. Like being blown out is a whole different thing. So I don't think I'm looking at Micah Hyde right now and see if he is playing or not. I think it's rendering forever.
But that's what you want.
But yeah, if he plays, go ahead, Glenn.
No, I said that's what you want. Why are you looking that up? You want teams to you want teams to think, or you want people to think this team has gotten better, right? You want this team to have a fast start. This team needs a fast start. This team has outscored opponents in the second half, 32-15, right? This season. Let's talk about the season. I'll go ahead. We got he's playing. Yeah,
he's playing. Yeah, he's playing.
Got you. But this team has outscored teams 32-15 in the second half. So if you put that together with a good first half, right? This team will become a track meet, right? So this defense has stiffened. We talked about it on the podcast. This team defense has always been, and this regime has always been good at making second half adjustments, right? Making second half adjustments. So this team has to be able to get out early and then and then make an adjustment at halftime and roll, because again, we see Bieniemy make adjustments in the second half, and this team has outscored teams, like I said, 32-15. So they've scored 16 points, averaging 16 points in the first half. So guess what? If they jump out to a lead early and able to adjust at halftime, this can maybe a blowout in the other direction and not the direction people think it is, because this team has been solid.
That'd be amazing.
This team has been solid in the second half. So, which I think if the Bills don't get it in the first half,
amazing. I will say this,
we won't get in the second.
Yeah. I will say this though. I think to a key then start fast, man. Because to your point, Glenn, that second half they've made great adjustments. They've been a good second half adjustment. The regime has. I always say before. That's one thing I'll give Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio. Their defense is playing like crap in the first half. In the second half. Like this whole team, because this team in general be better in the second half.
Yeah, they have been.
You there, Glenn?
Yeah, I got you, man. You were stuttering.
I'm gonna give y'all. I think I might have lost Glenn for a little bit. I'm gonna give y'all my prediction. My prediction for this game. I think Washington beats Buffalo 30-20.
Ooh. Okay. 30-20.
I feel like to Glenn's defense dominates. Like this defense dominates the game early, and then Buffalo's playing comeback, and then Josh Allen turns the ball over a couple of times. I think I'll say that Chase Young gets a sack fumble. Montez Sweat gets like 2 sacks. Deron Payne gets a couple sacks. Deron Payne gets a sack. Jonathan Allen, he needs to get into the game in terms of sacks. He's getting pressure, but Jonathan Allen needs to come home and get some more pressure because he wants to be part of the party. So I think Jonathan Allen gets about 2 sacks in this game, and you know what I mean. So I just think it's an opportunity for this defense to really eat when it comes to the Buffalo Bills. What about you, Glenn? And I got it 30-20 Washington. What do you got?
I got 28. I got 28-14 Washington. I think this defense stiffens, and I think the Buffalo Bills only put 14 points on the board. I think the defense will rise to the occasion, as you mentioned, the D-line. And I'm not trying to be a homer on this. I just go back to the games that they played with the Jets. No. And the Jets has a similar defense and a tough defense, just like Washington. The Raiders defense is not the Jets defense, right? And so I think with this pass pressure and the pressure that this team may provide against Josh Allen is going to give Josh Allen some fits and give Josh Allen some trouble this week. So I think that is going to be the key there. I think Washington runs well. I think Jonathan Allen will come out. I think everybody else been involved in a sack party this year, right?
Yeah,
I think Jonathan Allen gets in the sack party as well this year. by having sacks. He has opportunity today. Sacks. He'd be able to get Jonathan Allen.
Time, yeah.
You can move up in the list for sacks, right?
Yeah.
So he has opportunity to do that. You got my man Martez Sweat, who's and Chase Young. Let's not forget. I always want to put this in front. It's about the money to me. These guys are playing for money, right? These guys are playing to increase their salaries, increase their pay rate.
Both
of these guys, you see both of these guys come out and play well. But I also expect the secondary to have a good day. I think Emmanuel Forbes will improve from his first 2 weeks than he did this week. And I think we name that we have not called much this year. Maybe effect. We have not called Kendall Fuller's name a lot.
I know that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
But I mean, a good thing was also we haven't called him a lot for making effective plays or making the game changer.
Well, I will say this for cornerbacks: if you don't call their name, it's a good thing. That I will say.
It is a good thing, but you want to see this defense be able to create more turnovers, and that's what I want to see from especially from a team who likes to throw the ball. And this Buffalo team likes to throw the ball, so I like to see the secondary get more involved today. And I think because of the D line is going to be tough, it will cause the secondary to be able to have those plays and get some tip balls and some interceptions, or balls go off of receivers' hands, and Washington be able to take advantage of it.
I will say, I didn't mention this, but I should mention this too. They can't give up explosive plays. They just can't. The amount of explosive plays they've been giving up, well, especially the Denver game, right? Especially the Denver game. There were open plays too in that Arizona game, but they didn't capitalize. But they got to get rid of those. They can't give up those. You know what I mean? They got to let Buffalo earn it. You know what I mean? That's the thing. They got to let them earn it. That's the thing about the secondary. They have to sharpen up in terms of being able, not giving up the big play. You know what I mean? Don't make it easy for them. And if you're going to give it up, don't have people running. Give it up contested. Don't give it up when people are just running free. You know what I mean? That's my issue. Don't have them running free. Be sound in your assignments, sound in your technique and cover. Emmanuel Forbes is getting beat, and I like Emmanuel Forbes. He's a guy. Again, I think he's going to be special, but that's the reason why those individuals are going to be like Kendall Fuller hasn't. To your point, I feel like Kendall Fuller, different from the last couple of seasons, he's starting the season strong in terms of being around the football. He's not getting beat. As often. He's not really getting beat. These corners aren't like Dion. They're not Sauce Gardner. They're not Darrell Revis. You know what I mean? Name any top corner out there in the NFL, past or present, right? But Fuller has been I think he's carried over what he did in the second half of last season. So I do expect Fuller to get some interceptions eventually because that man got hands. I don't think they're testing him as much though. I'll say that much. I don't think Kendall's been tested as much. You know what I mean? And that kind of hinders him not getting his name called as much. But I do. I think this is. If you're the secondary, this is the time. I talked about the defensive front. If I'm the secondary, this is the time to show out. This is it. Everybody's talking about. Everybody's competitive, right? You're competitive, Glenn. I believe I'm competitive. I'm competitive. A lot of folks are competitive, not everybody. But if I'm the secondary, I'm yo, y'all talking about this defensive front 24/7. We ain't nothing. I'm gonna say, hey, we here too. We here too. You know what I mean? I'm Emmanuel Forbes. I'm I dropped a couple. I could have had four. I could have had 3 already this year. The Hail Mary. We didn't make the play. We didn't make the play on the Hail Mary. You know what I mean? We got to step up. We gave up big plays against Denver. Russ had over maybe 2. I don't think Russ had over 200 yards, something like that. And Russ buried through the football.
Yeah.
We got to do better. You know what I mean? We got to do better. So I'm looking at it if I'm the defense, if I'm the secondary, I'm okay, it's time for us to step up. We already know what them dudes doing, and they making our lives easy. It ain't they making it hard. They getting pressure. So the quarterback's clock is going quicker, and we are able to jump routes and we should be in picks and stuff because they're putting in pressure to a point where they can't throw their man open because that defensive line is just getting to that quarterback, right? So to me, if I'm the secondary, I'm it's time for us to eat now. It's our time now. You know what I mean? So hopefully it shows out this game, man. Hey, Glenn, ask you this question. You mentioned you said Jahan, but if you had to get a fancy football dude from the Commanders, who would it be this week? You said would it be Jahan? That would be your guy?
Truth be told,
or would it be a running back?
You know where I'm going, man. And, it'll be right. For fantasy purposes, right? I'm gonna have to go with if I had to pick a person for the Commanders. My fantasy person will be Brian Robinson in this reign. This is the reason why I would go fantasy person for Brian Robinson in the reign. Brian Robinson lead the whole league in getting first downs, right? Brian Robinson, even over Christian McCaffrey and everybody else, Brian Robinson had even over Bonji Robinson. Brian Robinson has 13 first downs this year. He's gained 13, 14 first downs. Brian Robinson is second in all running backs from line of scrimmage. He has 3 touchdowns this season. Right. So if I had to go up 3 touchdowns already in the season. So if I had to go for fantasy purposes, would be Brian Robinson. He has 146 yards. He's top 5 in running backs and yards this season. So if you need a fantasy player that you want to put in the NFC, you go ahead and go with Brian Robinson. That would be my choice if I had to get a fantasy player for the Washington Commanders for today, right? For today, and because of the conditions.
For today. I get you. Respect. Brian Robinson. You're going to have my fantasy. I got Brian Robinson on my fantasy team, and I think I have him on my bench. I may have to consider, because of you, I may have to consider playing him. Let's see. For me, I mean, I'm still with who you talked about. I think it's going to be Jahan. I think Jahan, anytime you hear like, oh, Jahan, somebody isn't, they thought that somebody put up numbers like that. Mm-hmm. I'm always for I think somebody like a Jahan. Like a Jahan would be it. Like Jahan, I feel like Jahan it's Jahan's time to put numbers up, to put up those special numbers. I think we have a comment, Glenn, before I get
man. Somebody, Joe Birch said, well, I hope you're right about Brian Robinson. Well, I hope you got Robinson. I hope you got Robinson on your fantasy team. And if I'm right, if you win the league, just slide me some paper, right? Slide me something today.
So I know that's right. But yeah, I feel like it's going to be Jahan's time. I just think that Scary is going to get a lot of Terry McLaurin's going to get a lot of the attention. And I think it's just Jahan's time to because I don't think folks can really, I said this before, and my man BJ, he was like a friend of mine. He was like, you told me, and we did the draft, and he was like, you were talking that Jahan was going to be better than Terry. And look at it, and after Terry had that big catch, he was like, I can't believe you told me that Jahan was going to be better than Terry. I said, bro, I know what I said. I ain't stuttering. Like, I know what I'm saying. Like, eventually Jahan is going to be him. Like, he's going to be him. And I think Jahan is going. There's nobody in this league. It's definitely no secondary corner. No secondary corner can check Jahan Dotson one-on-one. Nobody. So I think Jahan. It's all about where Sam Howell, who he trusts at this particular point in time. And you're going to trust Terry. You got to. He's that dude. But Jahan is going to make a play to a point where it's going to be so electric. It's going to be so undeniable that your folks are going to be like, all right, we got to look over here now. To a certain extent, we got to look over here. This matchup is killing. Like, he's killing this matchup. So I'm Jahan Dotson. I think Jahan getting a touchdown. He getting a touchdown in this game.
I think you agree with that. I think people got to look at too that Sam Howell also passed the ball around. Last week he had 10 different receivers, right? Yeah. He had 10 different receivers. So if you're throwing the ball to 10 different people, right, the numbers of somebody is going down unless you're getting big explosive chunk plays. So I'd rather have the medium numbers and each spread the ball around, and there's multiple people scoring and then multiple people eating and living. And that's what you'll see. Terry had the touchdown, fine, but Jahan did some things early on in that game with some passes that he caught that that helped this team extend plays and extend drives. Terry was the one that just was able to get reach the promised land last week, and was that type of game. Yeah. So again, you may see some. And again, you go back to the first week, right? Jahan had more yards and catches than Terry McLaurin. It may be somebody different. Yeah, true. Maybe somebody different this week. So it may be, we saw Dehami get into play last. Dehami had 2 or 3 catches last week.
Dehami can play, yeah.
Dehami can play. So again, when he has options, like I said, I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, it may be a Cole Turner, right? This may be a tight end day.
Yeah, I think it could be a Cole Turner day. It could be.
It could be a Cole Turner day. So again, when you have a quarterback who doesn't mind throwing a ball 30 or 40 times, as the offensive coordinator gives it to him, the wealth is going to be spread around, and you'll have different people who have more yards than Terry or more yards than Jahan. But based over the total body of work, I think Jahan is a little bit better than Terry. But I like both of them. They're on our team. They're on the team.
Yeah, I think they both number one. I think they both capable. They're both number ones. I think Terry at this particular point in time is better than Jahan. I won't lie. I won't deny it. But I do think that he's ascending there. He's getting there, and I think it's no problem to have 2 number ones. There's no knock on it. But right now, Terry is number 1. Terry is by far is number one. I'm not going to even I'm not hating. I'm not doing anything. Like Terry's number one right now. But I think Jahan, as the season progresses, we're going to see something. We're going to see a lot from Jahan Dotson. But Glenn, I want to do actually one little question. We talked about tight end play a little bit. You talked about Cole Turner. Obviously, we're going to probably see Cole Turner and Bates share the role at tight end. Like, who do you want to see play more in this game, Bates or Cole Turner?
No, I'm still here.
Oh,
I'm good.
Glenn? Yeah. Bates or Cole Turner? Who would you want to see play more on tight end?
I want Cole Turner. I think Cole is a little bit more athletic than Bates. And I think Cole catches better than Bates. Bates blocks well. But I'd rather see Cole Turner. That means they're throwing the ball a little bit. And
blocks well.
And I know it goes against what I said about running, but I still think the team can pass the ball here. And I think passing will be a good idea, which opens up your running game late. If you saw what happened last week, because we were able to throw the ball running game late, and when Kansas sealed the deal, Brian Robinson was able to, get it done. So
I will say this though. I mean, I do want to see Cole Turner play more than Bates, but Cole Turner is going to have to improve on his his run blocking, pass blocking, because when you have Bates in there, it doesn't dictate. It's not an obvious tell, right? When Bates is in there, you can't tell if they're going to run or pass. When Cole Turner's in there, you're probably going to think more pass than run, right? The thing, I just kind of want to see, I want to see Cole Turner out there more, but I think it's essential that Cole Turner does a good job when it comes to pass protection or run blocking when he's in the game. So because I don't want him to have a tail Cole Turner's in the game, they're going to throw the ball. Oh, you do play action, that's going to work. That's going to be effective. So I'm hoping that Cole Turner, steps up as a good run and pass blocker. I think that's essential because if he can do that, I think he could be a real dangerous tight end for this team down the road. But yeah, it's time almost. The game time is almost happening. It's 12:52. I mean, hopefully, with victory. But for tune into our post game show directly after the game, we'll be on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, X Live. So make sure you tune in. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Just search All Burgundy and Gold Everything. Also tweet us at ABG_everything. Hit us up on IG at ABG_everything. And like our All Burgundy. Hey, make sure you subscribe to our All Burgundy and Gold Everything YouTube channel as well. This has been a great show. Felix for being on. Anyway, you've been listening to All Burgundy and Gold Everything, powered by the Urban Sports Scene and Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia, for ages. You dig? Deuces. We out. Let's hope for Commanders victory. Let's go.
Let's go.